grease paint mostly. So grease paint is pretty good because it goes on pretty easily. Takes a lot to kind of like mess it up as well. So we do wear a lot of like horror masks and things in there, like big like scary monster masks and things. You might see a few of them when you're going through. And yeah, basically the grease paint goes on really well, and if you're wearing masks over the top of it, it's less likely to like smear and smudge and get all messy and stuff. Yeah, so Sam, if you want to jump up into the chair, grab yourself a couple of bros.
Well, now that we're out of all the boring stuff, if you're like me and you have a lot of hair, you might need to use one of these claw clips to grab it out of your face, because there's nothing more annoying than that. The first thing that I do whenever I put makeup on is I stick in a couple of contact lenses to change what my eyes look like, because my eyes are normally a little bit greeny and dark. So yeah, I've got little red and white ones here, and I'm just going to chuck them in real quick. It's kind of hard to do these, especially since they're very thin. You want to, very complicated thing to do is you grab the little thing there, and I'm just going to place it on my eye.
The first time you put in your contact lenses here, it usually, I think it took me about 45 minutes just to get the first one in, like the very first time I tried it. It's a lot of, it's mostly just getting past the usual like blink, because when you blink it ends up like pushing it off your finger.
So I would like to.
Your eye will like spew out tears, but it doesn't hurt or anything. It just feels a little bit odd for a couple of seconds. But once you blink a few times, you can't even feel that it's there.
Yeah.
So we do that twice.
Taking them out is
The same way that you put them in.
Yeah, yeah.
Pinch up.
Yeah, pick it up. It's actually a little easier to get them out than you think, because you're basically just doing that on the surface of your eye, and the contact will just come straight off your fingers. No, fortunately not. Yes.
Could you blind yourself doing it?
Only if you're like taking the contact lens and then shoving it into the back of your head. It's pretty difficult to like hurt yourself if you're doing that. One thing you do want to look out for though is making sure the lenses are clean before you put them in, because if you've got like dust or like lint or dirt or anything on the inside of the lens when you put it on, it's going to really hurt it. So you've got to be careful about that. Some of us even have these other contacts they're called sclera contacts, and they're a lot bigger than these ones. They actually cover the entire white of your eye, like the whole surface of your eye, and they're a lot trickier to get in because you have to kind of lift your eyelid up and like wedge it under there. But yeah,
He looks scared.
it looks pretty scary.
So as you can see, just putting in these contacts alone have already made me a little bit scarier. I think a lot of the stuff when it comes to being scary is like making things that are weird and different to humans. I can see perfectly fine. I have a tiny little like reddish whitish bar just at the bottom of one of my eyes here, but it's just because it moves a little bit while it's in there. But if I keep blinking, it'll move back into place and I'll be fine. Very annoying though. Our eyes get very sensitive to light putting these in and out, because the little solution that it sits in is salty, because your eye is salty. So I guess the first thing I'll do,
You want to sort out what kind of colours you want, and what kind of brushes you're using. So we have like a bunch of different colours and stuff depending on what kind of look you want to do. So something like this, this palette's a little messy, but something like this, it's got a lot of like bright primary colours. So you would use this if you're doing like something really striking and bright. If you're doing like a clown face or something like that, clowns really freak people out.
Pennywise. Can you do Pennywise makeup? That would be
You
cool.
can do a bit of Pennywise makeup, maybe a little bit. We can show you some examples of that.
Can you do the teeth?
Yeah, the teeth are a little extra work. For teeth, you want to use, there's like a couple of different ways you can do it. You could go with like a rubber set that you get at your like $2 shops and stuff at Halloween. You see those like vampire teeth and stuff. Those are okay. You can also get more complicated ones that are made out of plastic, and you actually heat form them in hot water. So they come as like white plastic beads, and when you heat them up in water, they go sort of mushy like clay, and then you can kind of shape them and turn them into like specialized teeth, and then form them on the surface of your teeth like that. You have to be very careful though, because if they end up like forming around your teeth, when they cool down, they kind of shrink a little bit. So if you form them, stick them on your teeth, and they cool down and shrink, when you take them out, you could actually like yank one of your teeth out, which is not ideal. Fortunately, I've never done that before, but yeah, you just got to be careful with some of that stuff when it gets a bit more involved.
you just chuck it on my face a little bit with a sponge, and then I'm literally just going to like blend it into my face quite a bit here. you can close your eye and do over your eye, just go everywhere, and it doesn't really hurt. If I go over my eyebrows, it makes my eyebrows a little bit grey. But yeah, just basically blending it into my face, just rubbing it in, and it'll give me a nice big white face.
Like sunscreens.
Yeah, pretty much like sunscreen. And the more of it you use, obviously, the whiter your face is going to look. Yeah, we do a couple of
You might
different.
need more makeup.
We do a couple of different like colors and stuff can change like how your face looks. So if you're doing something white, it'll make you look kind of ghosty. If you do like green, it'll make you look slimy. If you're doing blue, it'll make you look like the genie from Aladdin, which is not that scary, but it's fun. Then we've got, if you're using something darker, you can get like kind of a zombie look if you're using like lighter greens or stuff like this. It's got this kind of like olive look, so it looks like kind of rocky sort of look. That one's pretty fun. What else we got? And of course, black. We use a lot of black because that's really good for just a lot of contrast. If you really want to create a scary look, one of the easiest ways to do that is making like contrast in your facial features and stuff. Because something that really creeps people out is when you look sort of human.
Yeah, you just put it on my finger there, and then I'm just going to put it sort of on my eyelid and spread it out from there to try and give myself like a dark eye. Yeah, you got it.
Like a sleepy.
Kind of.
Like a black eye.
Yeah, to make me look really scared. So that's only a little bit on there, but we're going to do a little bit more because it's not quite dark enough for me. So yeah, just going to keep adding it layer by layer. You can just literally use your finger, which is really nice. Your finger's your best tool because if you're like me and you have shaky hands, it's really hard to draw with the paintbrush. So you like to just keep adding it. So I'm just going to do it on that side because on this side I'm going to do some cuts and stuff, maybe some bruises, and on the other side I'm going to do some like occultish symbols, which is another thing that we like to do in terms of themes. So for the symbols, I'm just going to put a little bit of green behind it to make it look like weird and glowing. So I'm going to use a little fluffy brush, which is going to be a little bit like my finger, but a lot lighter, so that I'm not putting too much on there. So I'm just going to very lightly spin it around in there for a bit, and then I'm just going to dot it around a bit on my face.
And then push it in.
Yes. Perfect. A little bit, yeah.
Grease paint spreads pretty far as well, so you don't have to use a whole lot of it to get the look. You can always start out with a little and just keep building on top of it to make it darker.
Because my pointer finger's already dirty, I can't use it because otherwise I'll mix the grey into the green and it'll look weird. So I have to use a different finger just to give it a little bit of like spreading, just to make it look like just lightly on my skin.
Okay, now that's getting a lot scarier.
So what we're going to do now with the green, in order to make it look actually scary, is we're going to try and draw some symbols in it, which is very difficult for me because I have quite shaky hands. But yeah, I'm just going to very lightly brush this around in the black. Maybe I'll grab a little bit of water just to make it a little bit easier to use. And then I'm just going to draw little things that are scary. Scary symbols usually have lots of lines and maybe random little dots around the place, and they tend to be very spiky. So we'll start like across.
That's a cool.
Maybe we'll add like a dot there. And then we'll add some little spiky things. So that symbol doesn't mean anything, but it looks like it could mean something, and that's scary to a lot of people. And so it might look like I've done magic on my face. I've got these magical little runes all over me. So we'll try again. Over here. The dots are really hard for me to make because, as I said before, I'm very shaky hands, but just you can even do looks with just lines.